He had nearly accidentally defied his superior, only to be thrown onto the front lines, yet he didn't even know where the weapon's safety catch was. Watching his teammates skillfully operate their exoskeleton suits, Cage grew increasingly flustered, sweat pouring down his forehead. After all, they weren't facing ordinary soldiers this time, but ferocious alien monsters with razor-sharp tentacles
This
and
time,
attack
the commander-in-chief
so terrifying
decided to
it
assemble
defied
all
belief
forces
for a final showdown with the monsters on the beach, aiming to end this long-running war once and for all. Soon, a million-strong army was fully assembled, ready to deploy to the beach. Among them was Cage, who had defied his superiors. His visibly tense expression drew mockery from his teammates. But just as his comrades were ridiculing Cage, a shell suddenly struck the transport aircraft. The cabin shattered instantly, claiming the lives of several soldiers before they even reached the battlefield. The surviving troops were forced to make an emergency landing. Their safety lines still tethered to the aircraft, they dangled suspended in midair. Countless shells rained down upon them until the transport was utterly destroyed. The lines snapped, and the men plummeted toward the ground. Fortunately, the exoskeleton armor protected him, allowing Cage to narrowly survive. But chaos reigned all around. Missiles streaked through the sky. Countless transport planes were shot down. One comrade celebrated his safe landing, only to be crushed into pulp by a falling aircraft. Cage had never witnessed such a scene. Paralyzed with fear, he could only follow the main force into battle. The surrounding area was littered with the gruesome remains of fallen mech warriors. Before he could recover from the shock, a burning aircraft crashed toward him. Fortunately, he leapt into a nearby trench. The monsters just launched a frenzied assault on the soldiers. As if possessing foresight, they anticipated every human counterattack, leaving the humans utterly defenseless. Even the goddess of war, who had slain countless monsters, was instantly obliterated by a single rocket launcher blast. It seemed this time humanity had truly underestimated the monster's power. Cage had no time for such thoughts. All he wanted now was to flee the battlefield. Instead, he was intercepted by his instructor, charging toward him. Before the instructor could berate him for desertion, a monster suddenly burst from the ground, spinning wildly in the trench like a walking meat grinder. His teammates in the chaos wildly and finally managed to disengage the safety on his weapon and unleashed a furious barrage at the monster. To his astonishment in this desperate situation, he actually killed one of the monsters. This must be the beginner's luck. But just as he was secretly celebrating, a higher-level monster emerged from the ground, locking eyes with him. Cage hoped to kill another with beginner's luck, but forgot his ammo. Fortunately, he spotted the C4 explosives nearby, so a split second before the monster charged, he grabbed the explosives, pulled the safety pin, and the monster was instantly blown to pieces. Scorching monster blood splattered across Cage's face, immediately beginning to corrode his skin, but he didn't die from it. Instead, he suddenly awoke in the barracks. Cage thought he just had a nightmare, unaware he'd unexpectedly gained the power to resurrect. Only when he saw the familiar surroundings and heard the instructor repeat yesterday's exact words did he realize he'd returned to the day before the final battle.